I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Culpy and Chip and Ghosty. Shout out to the big homie Dan.
Dan O'Connell.
Okay, we have a Patreon tier. It's a $75 Patreon tier, and you can jump on it for 1 month, and you can get your song bumped straight to the top of the list. So our big homie Dan did this. Now, don't get any big ideas. Dan has picked a giant long song, and we're doing it because Dan is Dan. So this is not for everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, if Dan would have told me, hey, I want you to review this song, I'd have done it, period.
Right, right.
The entire reason that, by the way, we got to release the first Korn video today. The entire reason that we were able to meet with Brian, who is my favorite rock and roll person of all time, is because of the big homie Dan. Mm-hmm. And Dan's one of those guys
and he got us that super special video of Head congratulating
us on Orion's conception. So,
on the conception of our fetus.
Right, our subhuman fetus randomly becomes human once it exits the birth canal.
And moving right along.
Dan, but the
Never
crazy
miss
thing
an
about
opportunity.
The crazy thing about Dan is like, there's no you owe me yada yada yada.
No, yeah.
He's just genuinely happy for you, and
yep.
So yeah, definitely. I'm very, very happy to do this for him. It's a 23-minute song. We usually don't do that.
Right. Well, that's right now. I'm releasing the Korn video to you guys. So, not the Korn video. It's the Korn show review. Here it comes. Saving changes. Boom. It's public. So yeah, you get to see our journey at the Korn show that we went to and see how that went. So yeah, so don't get any big ideas. A 23-minute song would be bigger than a $75 tier, but this is for Dan.
Right.
Like we said, we would have done it for you for free, big homie, if you had asked.
Yeah, well, what we can do is we can just go into PayPal and push the money back to him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because he did it through PayPal, he didn't do it through Patreon.
Oh, then do that.
So yeah, we'll just push it back to him. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Oh, for timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori. Okay.
Whoa, okay, that's real. What happened?
Genesis, Supper's Ready. Did you even announce the song?
No, I didn't.
Genesis, Supper's Ready.
Okay, and go. There's like a pause here where it's saying supper's ready, which is kind of weird, but maybe it's a lead up.
Walking across the sitting room, I turn the television off. Sitting beside you, I look into your eyes as the sound of motor cars fades in the night time. I swear I saw your face change. It didn't seem quite right. And it's hello babe, with your guardian hair so blue. Hey my baby, don't you know our love is true? Coming closer with our eyes, a distance falls around our bodies. Out in the garden, the moon seems very bright. 6 saintly shrouded men move across the lawn slowly. The 7th walks in front with a cross held high in hand. And it's your supper's waiting for you. Hey, my baby, don't you know our love is true? I've been so far from here, far from your warm arms. It's good to feel you again. It's been a long, long time. who looks after the farm. With water clear, he cares for his harvest. I know a fireman who looks after the farm. Can't you see his food? Yes, he's here again. Can't you see his food you owe? Sharing his peace, sign the lease. He's a supersonic scientist. He's a guaranteed eternal sanctuary man. Look into my mouth, he cried. And all the children lost on many paths. I bet my life you'll walk inside, hand in hand, gland in gland, with a spoonful of miracles. He's a guaranteed eternal sanctuary.
I'm confused.
Wearing feelings on our faces while our faces took a rest. We walked across the fields to see the children of the West. We saw a host of dark-skinned warriors standing still below the ground. Waiting for battle. Fights begun, they've been released, killing for peace. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. And they're giving me a wonderful potion, 'cause I cannot contain my emotion. And even though I'm feeling good, something tells me I better activate my prayer capsule. Today's a day to celebrate the foe have met their fate. Order for rejoicing and dancing has come from our warlord. Wandering in the chaos the battle has left, we climb up the mountain of human flesh.
Yikes.
Ugh.
To a plateau of green grass and green trees full of life. A young figure sits still by a pool. He's been stamped human bacon by some butchery tool.
Ugh. Human bacon.
Social security took care of this lad. We watch in reverence as Narcissus is turned to a flower.
Oh.
A flower?
What?
If you go down to Willow Farm to look for butterflies, flutterbys, gutterflies, open your eyes. It's full of surprise. Everyone lies like a fox on the rocks. And the musical box. Oh, there's mum and dad and good and bad, and everyone's happy to be here. There's Winston Churchill dressed in drag. He used to be a British flag. Plastic bag, what a drag! The frog was a prince. The prince was a brick. The brick was an egg. The egg was a bird.
Fly away, you sweet little thing, and hide your tail.
Haven't you heard?
Protect you to a human being.
Yes, we're happy as fish and gorgeous as geese, and wonderfully clean in the morning. We've got everything. We're growing everything.
What is
We got
happening?
some in, we got some out, got some wild things floating about. Everyone, we're changing everyone. We'll name them all, we've had them here. And the real stars are still to appear. Feel your body melt.
Yeah.
Man to man to man.
To dad, dad in the office, dad in the office. You're all full of balls. Dad to dad.
Dum to mum. Mum diddly washing, mum diddly washing.
You're all full of balls. Let me hear your lies. We're living this up to the eyes. Mama, I want you now. As you listen to my voice, to look for hidden doors. nights. Hey, babe, with your guardian eyes so blue. Hey, my baby, don't you know our love is true? I've been so far from here, far from your loving arms. Now I'm back again. I'm maybe it's gonna work out fine. Can't you feel our souls ignite? Shedding ever-changing colors in the darkness of the fading night. Like the river joins the ocean as the germ in the sea grows. We'll finally be free to get back home. There's an angel standing in the sun, and he's crying with a loud voice. This is the supper of the mighty one. Lord of lords, King of kings, has returned to lead his children home, to take them to the new Jerusalem.
Oh, supper's ready. This is the definition of epic. I usually don't research songs,
Yeah. Did you
but
research?
I was doing a little bit of research because this is such a long and epic song. I wanted to make sure that we were on the right track. If it's like a 4-minute song, plus the guy really put a lot of effort into his video.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, what did you find out?
One of the things I wanted to find out was if it was an official video. Because
Was it?
no, it's not. So
my
somebody
gosh.
decided to do this. This must have taken days of
gosh.
editing.
Yeah.
If not
Days.
weeks of editing. Like, I watch Sori edit stuff and it's extremely simple. And this guy, what's his channel? We need to promote this guy's channel. Anyway, whoever this guy is deserves a medal. I don't know who I'm more impressed with, him or the musicians. But the guy,
I know. He did a great
it's
job.
basically a trip throughout, like, the book of Revelation, basically, is what the idea was.
Well, at first I thought it was like
Nathaniel Barlam, shout out to the big homie. Good lord.
wow.
Go ahead.
I was thinking that it was like someone's life, like the journey of their life. Some of the things, but then some of the times I was like completely confused as to what are we talking about. And then the ending sounded like Revelation as well.
Well, yeah, he talks about Magog, you know,
Yep.
and he talks about the beast of the sea and all, I mean, the dragon in the sea.
Yes.
So there's oh, look, he said it again. Supper's Ready is a personal journey which ends up walking through the scenes from Revelation in the Bible. I'll leave it at that. I was trying to get, there was other stuff too, but it was kind of weird, and it didn't come from any of the artists, so I was like, it's just people's speculation and yes, but the real payoff is at the end when
The supper.
The supper,
Yeah.
because there's the marriage
Yes.
feast of the Lamb. Heaven is portrayed in the Old Testament and the New. That heaven is characterized as everybody is a big family sitting around a dinner table.
Yep.
So with the best wine, that's what it says, the finest wine. Hopefully it'll be red. That's my favorite.
Maybe everybody's cup is what they like.
Everybody should like what I like.
No.
So yeah, it's the guys. It's a combination of personal journey / whatever, and it's the end of the record, which is a pretty crazy way to end a record.
Yeah.
This is a supper of the mighty one. I agree. I was very happy to see that.
So it's a religious song?
I don't know.
Was there some stuff in it that you were like, what are we talking about?
Well, yeah, there are a couple things, but like there sometimes when especially let me see here. 1972. So sometimes I'm like, people were experimenting on acid and shit. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of experimentation with stuff that affects your. I think one of the things is like one of the effects is you're able to connect things. You're able to see the continuity in various topics that you normally wouldn't see in normal circumstances. And so and it's one of those things where if you see the connection, you can't unsee it. You know those pictures that you look at and and like other people can't see it, but
it's
you
a
can
duck
see
and a
it.
bunny.
And the minute you can see it, you can't unsee it. So I think people were, I think they were making certain connections to stuff that if you really, really look at it, you'll see and be like, oh, okay, I see the connection there. So it starts off with, just two lovers, right? The first chapter's called Lover's Leap, walking across the sitting room, which is interesting, instead of living room.
Yeah.
Is that what y'all called it?
Yeah, it was called a sitting room, yeah.
Okay. I turn the television off, sitting beside you, I look into your eyes as the sound
he
of motor
said
cars.
television, too. People don't call it a television.
Well, yeah,
It dates it,
going back in time. And it's hello, babe, with your guardian eyes so blue.
Aw.
Hey, my baby, don't you know our love is true? Don't you know our love is true?
I do.
Very true. I love you very much.
And I love you much.
Coming closer with our eyes, our distance falls around our bodies. It's good lighting. Out in the garden, the moon seemed very bright. 6 saintly shrouded men move across the lawn slowly. Okay, so that's where it starts getting really, really weird. I loved this guy.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because he has these characters coming with a cross. I was like, no, not my black man.
I'm also gonna put the link because this guy who did this.
He does a breakdown of all his illustrations.
He does a breakdown of every segment of the comic. It's insane. This guy really put a lot of work into it. We should actually work with this guy, whoever he is. We need to contact this guy because he could do some. We could do something with this guy. Anyway,
True.
The seventh walks in front with a cross held high in hand, and it's, hey babe, your supper's waiting for you. Hey my baby, don't you know our love is true? So then the question becomes, okay, who's saying that? Is the seventh guy saying that? Right? That the supper's waiting for you, or is it back to the wife saying that to the husband?
I just assumed it was the wife saying it to the husband.
It could be a double entendre.
Yeah.
It sets the stage for the concept of supper being prepared. So at the first movement of the song or the first chapter, the supper is just a regular supper that a loving wife makes for her husband or whatever, assuming the gender roles. Maybe it's the husband saying, "Hey, babe, the supper's waiting for you."
True.
But in 1972, I'm assuming it's the woman. Sori hasn't said that to me in like 2 months. So
I made you ribs 3 nights ago.
Okay.
Ribs and corn on the cob.
I've been so far from here, far from your warm arms. It's good to feel you again. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Okay, so, here's the thing that's weird to me. So, did they see these guys? Or is the narrator just saying, as the inside scene is happening and you got these two lovers being introduced, this is what's happening in the house. So they probably haven't seen this guy yet.
That's what it. That's
What are your
I
thoughts?
agree with that. Like the illustrator made it look like they saw it happening because the man was looking out the window.
Right.
But in the song, it doesn't portray that they know it. Like to me, it's they could be lost.
You know what we should do? You're lost. You don't have a culture.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably picture this, the whole of you. You know what I mean? Or is that going to make the file too big? We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
another time. Okay. So obviously the number 7 is there. 7 is a number of perfection and all that good jazz. And so that's there as a precursor. But so they're in each other's arms. They're completely oblivious to the strangeness that's happening outside because apparently he'd been gone on a trip or something like that, and he's now come back. And so they're.
Well,
she says
it might be the trip.
I've been so far from here. Go ahead.
It might be the trip, or it might be that they were like emotionally
distant from each
Yeah,
other.
because it says that he goes across the room and turns the TV off.
Yeah.
Because like a TV or media and all those things can make it so there's separation between people. So the TV was going, he shuts it off, and then they're into each other's eyes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but far from your warm arms, it's good to feel you again. It's been a long time. I don't think the TV carries enough force to make that in the passage.
yeah,
It seems
maybe
to me he's been gone.
literally gone.
Yeah. The guaranteed eternal sanctuary man. Like this.
Yeah,
this stuff
I'm gonna still disagree with you on that because I think if he was gone and he returned, he wouldn't even have the TV on to like they would be like, oh my gosh, like it's been so long.
she is watching TV to pass the time because she's alone, and then he opens the door and comes home, walks in the sitting room, he turns off the TV.
Maybe. Maybe.
The guaranteed eternal sanctuary man. So then it goes to the next chapter. I know a farmer who looks after the farm with water clear. He cares for all of his harvest. I know a fireman who looks after the fire. You can't see he's fooled you all? Yes, he's here again. Can't you see he's fooled you all? Share his peace. Sign the lease. He's a supersonic scientist. He's a guaranteed eternal sanctuary man. Look into the mouth, he cries, and all the children lost down many paths. I bet my life he will walk inside, hand in hand, gland in gland, with a spoonful of miracle. He's a guaranteed eternal sanctuary. We will rock you, little snake. We will keep you snug and warm. Okay, I think that's the Antichrist. Like, he's introducing the Antichrist.
Okay.
Right? Because he's like this man of peace and all this stuff, and sign the lease, which I'm assuming is like sell your soul to the devil.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a guaranteed eternal sanctuary man. Like, he's going to bring you to heaven. But it says, look into my mouth, he cries, and all the children lost down many paths. So he's like consuming these people.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. I bet
Right.
my life you'll walk inside.
Right.
Yeah.
With a spoonful of miracle, he's a guarantee, but he's a snake. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We will rock you, little snake. We will keep you snug and
Yeah.
warm.
I think you're right on that.
So like this guy, the eternal sanctuary man, is like, he's like a messianic figure, and the guy who did it, like, he had that interpretation too, because the guy basically had like a crown of thorns type thing on his head. So there you go. I'm looking at what this guy's saying to see if he agrees with me. But anyway,
Well, you don't go to the actuals.
no, just please stop. Please stop. I beg
I
of
can
you.
get it to you so much
I
faster.
beg of you. But anyway, he had the guy. Yeah,
there.
see right there, eternal sanctuary man is being presented, right? The false prophet who preaches control and violence over natural orders, right? So there's two characters in the book of Revelation that are really, really terrible. It's the beast, which is usually looked upon as the Antichrist, and then there's this guy named the false prophet who basically he compels everyone to worship the beast.
Yeah.
So the beast is kind of the political arm, and the false prophet is sort of like the religious arm that gets people to submit to the Antichrist authority, right? So So this guy is a, and it's funny because it's interesting because he looks like a man here, but here he looks like a demon in the shadow.
Yes.
He does a really, really good
and
job.
Remember, there's like a character that has like a triangle on their face. Look.
Yeah,
It makes
pentagram.
like a little triangle here.
Right, and it
In
says
the shadow.
I think it says like the false prophet had the mouth of a lamb or something like that. Like he's an impersonation of Christ. So
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
He did a pretty good job there. Wearing feelings on our faces while our faces took a rest, we walked across the fields to see the children of the West. But we saw a host of dark-skinned warriors standing still below the ground waiting for battle. Which is really interesting because this guy's being transported. It looks like an Armageddon scene. And it talks about the children of the West, and the people that they're fighting are a host of dark-skinned warriors. But they're standing below the ground. The fight's begun. They've been released. Remember in Revelation there...
So you're thinking that's Armageddon?
Well, it looks like an Armageddon scene, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And what's interesting is that the children of the West could probably be codified as like European Christianity. And they're going up against a host of dark-skinned warriors. Now remember, there's all these demons underground that when the angel opens the abyss, they all flood the earth. And there's 200 million of them was the number, right? And they're marching across the open plain or whatever. And so what's interesting is that the demons are characterized as dark-skinned warriors, which I don't believe that the writers were racist. I just believe that if you're looking at it from, European Christian history, that, not only were the Nordic peoples and things like that, destroyed by European Christianity, but obviously people of color were also destroyed by. So it's interesting that the demons are characterized as dark-skinned warriors because that's how you would characterize them if you had that mentality.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The fight's begun. They've been released. Killing foe for peace. Bang, 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 bang. Of course, this is the 70s. You're still talking about Vietnam, so there's shades of Christians justifying war and killing a bunch of people and then saying, we're doing this for peace. To secure peace is to prepare for war, right? And they're giving me a wonderful potion because I cannot contain my emotion. And even though I'm feeling good, something tells me I better activate my prayer capsule. The wonderful potion?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's sort of like whatever religious people use or political people use to justify doing their atrocities is kind of like the opiate of the masses, that type of thing. People are, we call, in the modern day, we call it woke, you're asleep, and then you wake up, yada, yada,
It
yada.
said something like Jesum right there. Jesum approved.
Yeah, that's the Guaranteed Eternal Sanctuary, man, GESM.
Oh.
So, today's the day to celebrate. The foe have met their fate. The order for rejoicing and dances has come from our warlord. So it's like we completely massacred all of these people. We killed them, so now it's time to rejoice, right? So then it's the next chapter is how dare I be so beautiful. Wandering through the chaos the battle is left, we climb up a mountain of human flesh, a plateau of green glass and green trees full of life. A young figure sits still by a pool. He stamped human bacon by some butchery tool. He is you. Social Security took care of this lad. We watch in reverence as Narcissus is turned to a flower. A flower? So, Narcissus,
looking into the water himself.
Right. He became so self-obsessed that he's like, he became a flower by that, and the gods were like, oh, you can stay there forever and keep looking at yourself. He was cursed, basically. And what's interesting is he's saying human bacon by some butchery tool. And what he's saying is, you're following this guy, into war or whatever. You're going to do everything he says, but at the end of the day, you're just human bacon to him. I think burger meat. I was reading this when I was younger. I was reading this book by Richard Marcinko. It's kind of legendary guy in certain communities, and he just kept using the term burger meat to describe, people that they were going to kill. I mean, he's a Dev Group guy.
Yeah.
He actually he originated Dev Group. It was his basic, Dev Group was his baby.
Yeah.
And so, they were talking about Vietnam and just, So anyway, when you get around people in the kill game, like the language is just different and the mentality is different because it's part of the culture. And you kind of have to, whatever. But the point here is that He's been stamped human bacon. He's been expendable. And remember, it's 1972, so, Vietnam is, and, he's human bacon, by some butchery tool. He is you. And then it says Social Security took care of this lad. Meaning, I think that's kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Actually, because a lot of these dudes that came back from Vietnam, the VA didn't take care of him, and neither did Social Security.
Right, and then look where he landed.
Right. And so but at the same time, he's kind of stuck in the BS, and there's no real hope for this guy to get out. If you go down to Willow Farm to look for butterflies, gutterflies, open your eyes, it's full of surprise, everyone lies. It's
are we in a version of Alice in Wonderland here?
Well, yeah, there are multiple people writing this song. I mean, look at it. Tony Banks, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, Steve Hackett, Michael Rutherford. I mean, mad people are in this song. You know what I mean? So you're going to get different writing styles and different ideas and all that. There's Winston Churchill dressed in drag. He used to be a British flag. Plastic bag. What a drag. The frog was a prince. The prince was a brick. The brick was an egg. The egg was a bird. I have no idea what's going on here, other than to say that this guy doesn't have a very high perspective on leaders. Of course, now Winston Churchill is basically a hero. You generally very rarely hear anything negative about Winston Churchill nowadays.
Yeah.
But I guess you could say something like that in the 70s. Feel your body melt. See, that right there, to me, is, nuclear warfare. I think what he's saying is if we follow these people and these ideas to their logical extension, we're going to end in a nuclear holocaust here. So, as you listen to my voice to look for hidden doors, tidy floors, more applause. You've been here all the time, like it or not, like what you got. You're under the soil. You're, deep in the soil. So we'll end with a whistle and end with a bang, and all of us fit in our places. It's like, you're dead and you've been dead. Which is really interesting because the last group of people that were underground were the demons that were marching. And then now it's like, hey, you're there too. That's your abode. And then Apocalypse 9/8, co-starring the delicious talents of Gabble Ratchet. And then he talks.
Why did you laugh at that?
Well, it's just the delicious talents. Phrases like that. I like stuff you'd see at a circus or whatever.
Yeah.
With the guards of Magog swarming around. Okay, so Gog and Magog is Ezekiel 38 or 39, I think. And Gog and Magog, it's the description of the ultimate battle that happens during Armageddon. Although I've got a different interpretation of that passage, and it's a minority view, and I've never told you that, and you'll probably be disappointed once you hear it.
Really?
It's not as sexy as
as the other theories you have.
Oh, for sure. Dragons coming out of the sea, shimmering silver head of wisdom looking at me, he brings down the fire from the sky. The shimmering silver head of wisdom is brilliant because one of the who is that? Is that anybody important? Nobody important. One of the aspects of why the serpent was worshipped is because of his wisdom. It's always been so. He's referring to the serpent as wisdom, and then you're talking about a dragon, and a dragon is basically a serpent with wings, right? 666 is no longer alone. He's getting out the marrow in your backbone, and the 7 trumpets blowing sweet rock and roll. The 7 trumpets are 7 trumpets of judgment in the book of Revelation, and every time the angel blows a trumpet, another judgment occurs, and
this is a point where I was like, wait, maybe we were saying something about Revelation here.
Right. So at the end of it all, what ends up happening is they all end up in the New Jerusalem, sitting around the table, and Jesus is there, and there's a little lamb and all that. So the guy used some Christian references. So it's just a really trippy, probably acid-induced journey.
In the middle, there was those dogs were eating that. There was a little fox that was trying to hide at the beginning, and then the fox got eaten. But then at the end, the fox and the lamb are in the New Jerusalem also.
Right. Which, they're
famous. Again, that was the drawings. That wasn't the...
Yeah, but he's you're looking at utopia. So, it's weird. It's kind of... I actually really like the song because I can kind of relate to it because he's calling out social ills and social injustice. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, it's going to turn out all right. We're all going to be at the table. It's going to be good. Which is my perspective on the world.
It is.
Right?
It
Like,
really is, yeah.
That's why I really enjoyed the song because I was like, man, I got to figure out what this guy's doing. But that's really, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You know, it's like, and the reason that I believe, the reason that I can call out social injustices and talk about it a lot while at the same time believing in a good future is because one leads necessarily to the other, right? So, you know I'm not the only one, and you know I think there's room to grow. Obviously, you can look at the 70s and go, look, man, we didn't really change. You know, they had Vietnam, we had the Iraq War. Both were bullshit wars that killed a bunch of our neighbors overseas.
Yep.
You know, the Viet Cong, and killed a bunch of our direct neighbors. You know, for what reason? You know, I remember talking to you know, it was around pretty close after 9/11, and I remember talking to this guy, and I was like, you know. He was a Vietnam guy, and he was talking to us, and I was like, well, did you feel like, you know, somebody said something like, would you have rather have fought now because we have something to fight for because these people attacked us versus, you know, back then because it was a waste, and we were all kind of like looking to see what he was going to say, and the guy was like, well, I could never call, you know, my friend's sacrifice a waste. So it was kind of awkward moment, and you know, and people always default to, well, you're fighting for the guy next to you, blah blah blah. But I would much rather have been in World War II and lost a buddy than in Vietnam and lost a buddy.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course.
You know, and you can say, okay, this is written in the 70s, and they had a bullshit war and we had a bullshit war, so we're not growing. But I think the accumulation of those instances are going to put us in a position where we don't make a major mistake. Right? So, like, maybe it's going to take a couple Vietnams and Iraq wars or whatever for us to avoid World War III. And then if that happens, would it have been worth it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and so then you have the Tulsi Gabbards of the world who are saying, no, I'm not going to buy the CIA party line on Assad and all the rest of it. Like, so we are making progress, and in the, you know, social media generation, it's going to be a lot more difficult to BS people into craziness, into Armageddon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more difficult to do that.
Yep.
I think, you know, the citizen journalism stuff that has popped up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what's going to help too, because it's like,
it's making it very hard for people to propagandize.
Yep.
Because now the general public has options. You know, me, I'm going to listen to Jimmy Dore. You know, Jimmy Dore is a complete leftist, progressive, almost communist guy. And then there's Tim Pool, who is more centrist but left-leaning. And then there's Anthony Brian Logan, who's obviously a radical right-winger. But now, like, I listen to those guys tell me the news. I'm not listening to CNN or Fox or whatever.
Right.
Jimmy Dore, Tim Pool. Right. Every video he has is like 200, 300,000 views. And if you look at CNN, like, they don't have those types of views on YouTube. So, like, and YouTube is helping CNN. So, like, CNN, Fox, all those guys, they will promote those guys,
Yeah, but everybody's sick of the media and what they've done to us. So everybody's like, you know what? We're done with you.
Now
you don't have any credibility because you're always swayed by, you know, your CNN. You know what you're gonna get. Fox News, you know what you're gonna get.
And now it's come to citizen journalism. And I think we are progressing to where it's going to be a lot harder to be influenced by one charismatic guy, although the Trump phenomenon does not communicate that. So I don't know. I just think it was a really trippy song, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good piece of work. What do you give it?
No, what are you giving it?
It's a 9.4 for me.
It's a 6 for me.
How dare you?
Yeah, it's a 6 for me.
Why is it a 6 for you? Because you're impatient? You couldn't deal with the genius of what these people were doing?
No, it just, you know, musically, I was like, what's happening here?
It kind of...
There was only, like, 2 parts that I, like, could feel. And for 26 minutes, only feeling 2 parts is not a good ratio for me. So like, obviously the beginning part when that whole babe part was happening, I liked that. And then at the table,
with the couple?
yeah, and then at the table at the end of supper. Those were my 2 parts that I liked.
You're the worst.
And then the rest of it, I was like, are we in some version of Alice in Wonderland? And I'm just spiraling down the rabbit hole.
Spiral out!
Keep going! Anyway, so yeah, that's my thing. 6. Sorry, Dan. I liked your other one that you sent to us better. But inshallah, you enjoy this review. This wildly long run. Again, this is only for Dan.
Well, we did a 23-minute song before.
We did. It slipped through, but I just don't want people thinking, hey,
I kept seeing that.
We have 5 kids and a 3-month-old baby. Like, we can't tack on like hours and hours of reviews.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I know. Yeah.
Well, look, if you've got a song like this, talk to us. We'll see if we can negotiate. Because I'm not necessarily... There's a song that Kellendross has that's an hour long. Kellendross and the big homie Ben Webb.
Yeah.
That I'm very, very, very curious about. So, like, I don't know. One day if we wake up mega early, I would like to do that song.
Yes, I just don't want people... Like, once you do it once, then everybody gets offended. Oh, you did it for that person. You should do it for me. Like, Dan did something special. Very, very special, which put him in a certain situation, you know what I mean? And there might be some times where stuff slips through, but we don't...
Yeah, it's just Dan has been an OG from the beginning.
Yes.
With our group.
Yeah.
And so it's just human nature, I mean. But anyway, send us an email if you've got a 20-plus minute song, because
And we can,
this is obviously something her and I disagree on.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a 9.4 for me. Sori's wrong. She usually is.
No.
Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.